I brought popcorn.
Popcorn. I brought pretzels. Girls who eat.
I think that this is going to be a good chapter. I'm sick of these boring ass chapters.
I don't know. I feel like it's been 50-50. Like every other chapter has been juicy.
It's just when we get the chapter and there's dates. Like the date chapters are the rough ones.
Yeah. All the boring shit that nobody really cares about.
Boring shit.
Stuff they could have edited out had they had a good editor.
Yeah, Jesus wasn't available.
Yeah. Jesus wasn't the best writer. As if he hand wrote the entire Bible.
I don't remember the last time that we got fucked up together. I missed that.
I don't think that you can. I remember the last time I was fucked up and you were standing there holding my hair back.
Oh, I
I
remember
remember that. Bits and pieces, you know.
Oh, I remember that one. We got your shit together.
Yeah, and then the next gig, didn't even know that I had just been vomiting violently and crying my eyelashes off.
No.
That is my victory story. That is my climb.
I think the last time I got a little drunk in front of you, I spilled a drink on the seat of somebody that tried to befriend you while I was talking to you. Remember that?
Yeah. A little drunk? Actually, that was the only time I've ever seen you like smashed. And apparently you had been drinking all day. Like you started at a bottomless brunch.
I did drink all day.
And then you just kept going and going and going.
Well, they shouldn't have taken my seat. I was talking to you. You're my friend. And I was talking to your ass and that little bitch.
That wasn't the most drunk you got that night, though. The most drunk you got was where I had to lift your corpse into an Uber.
Yeah. It's because when I get drunk, I get tired. And when I fall asleep, it's impossible to move my body.
You can fall asleep in the middle of a sentence when you're not drunk. So
I fall asleep during Bible study and you just haven't even known.
She can sleep with her eyes open like an iguana.
I'm asleep right now. Okay. We've got some people coming in. We'll give it just another like 30 seconds and then we'll get started.
Work. I love how we both have the natural tones going on today.
Yeah, very
earthy. Did we coordinate this?
Sometimes I never know like what you're gonna show up as just as much as the other, like what I plan to show up as.
It's half the fun is that like we just never know.
Yeah, we've never matched.
Well, but we usually do like a similar vibe though. Like it's like we both were like black and red on the Halloween episode. For our very first episode, we were both pastel colors. I was a pastel pink, you were a pastel purple.
That's true.
Right now we're both brown. And then
yeah, we're both poop and throat colors.
Yeah, sure. Yep. Trickling down, vomit.
This hair is everything. It looks like it's growing out of your scalp.
Thank you. Thank you. When I got it, it looked terrible, but I played with it a little bit and it's real cute. So.
Hey, after you play with something, sometimes it gets cute.
Yeah, a miracle.
Looks like we've got some folks online. So you want to get started?
Let's do it. We're diving into Bible Sludy. We're on chapter 27 of Genesis, right?
Yes, Genesis. So this is Bible Sludy. My name is Jessica Whor. I am a Catholic that has been rejected by the Catholics and also loves the music of the Catholics.
Work. And I am Tiffany Vogue, and I actually got my drag name from the prettiest whore in church. That was the actual inspiration for naming my first name Tiffany.
Really? The prettiest whore at your church?
She was the prettiest whore in church. She had the best makeup. And I was like, you know what? Even from an early age, I was probably like 3 or 4 at the time. I was like, I want to be her when I grow up. And I kind of did.
It worked for Dolly.
It worked for Dolly, yes.
It did. Mm-hmm. It worked for you. So for those of you that are joining us that are brand new, we have been going chapter, verse, story, every single week through the Bible. And we just talk about, not only do we read each of the stories in each of the chapters, but we talk about some of the things that we point out or that we notice that are a little bit Difficult. I wouldn't say difficult. What's the word that I'm thinking of?
Problematic.
Problematic in the Bible.
Problematic.
As Tiffany has said before, they are constantly, as religious individuals, telling us to read the Bible and we should know the Bible, and because we're queer, we're wrong, so we should read it. So that's what we're doing.
That's what we're here for. We're here to appease the haters.
I've got the children's Bible still. I know, Tiffany, you're still working with the teenage one. I'm really excited because we still have a lot of Genesis, but once we get to Exodus, I'm going to change Bibles, I think.
Okay.
Just to see what the stories alter. Mine's a little bit more censored. Tiffany's, we found, has been a little bit more blunt. And we just kind of go through it. Feel free to comment down below any of the questions or any of the comments or any of the things that you point out as well while we're reading through this, and we'll get to them at the end.
Yeah, we love reading the comments.
Do you want to start this week?
Yeah, let's start it off.
Okay, so 27.
27. When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could no longer see, he called for Eshua, his older son, and said to him, "My son, here I am," he answered. Isaac said, I am now an old man and don't know the day of my death. Now then, get your equipment. Ooh, not the strap on. Get your equipment, your quiver, and your bow, and go out to the open country to hunt some wild game for me. Prepare me the kind of tasty food I like and bring it to me to eat, so that I may give you my blessing before I die. Now, he traded this birthright in the last chapter for a bowl of soup.
That's true. So we're starting off pretty strong.
Yep, drama. We're getting into the drama.
We're getting into the drama right off the bat.
Now, Rebecca was listening as Isaac spoke to his son Esau. When Esau left for...
Is it Esau?
Esau, I don't know. Probably.
Eshua?
I'm gonna go with Eshua. I'm gonna flip-flop back and forth. I'm hungover, everybody. I can barely read these words. I'm still drunk from last night. When Eshua left for the open country to hunt game and bring it back, Rebecca said to her son Jacob, "Look, I overheard your father say to your brother Eshua, bring me some game and prepare me some tasty food to eat, so that I may give you my blessing in the presence of the Lord before I die. Now, my son, listen carefully and do what I tell you." Ooh, she's scheming. She's plotting.
Yours is so like direct and like to the point for this particular story. Mine just is beating around the bush.
Oh. Go out to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats, so I can prepare some tasty food for your father, just the way he likes it. Then take it to your father to eat, so that he may give you his blessing before he dies. You know, isn't this just as dishonest as lying about who got the blessing?
It feels a little bit dishonest. It feels like he's trying to trick the idea of like where it came from.
Yeah, well, she's trying to set up this whole scheme where like the father is gonna accidentally bless the wrong son, but that's just as dishonest as lying about who they blessed. This is a big plot hole to me, unless he's gonna do it in front of like witnesses.
All right, I'm just like, you should just eat and be happy.
Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, "But my brother Esau is a hairy man, while I have smooth skin. What if my father touches me?"
Hold on. So one is a bear, one is a twink.
Mm.
And then we're trying
to
figure
out which daddy issues.
Mine says, perhaps my father will feel me. Mine says, perhaps my father will feel me.
Perhaps my father will give me a squeeze. I would appear to be tricking him and would bring down a curse on myself rather than a blessing. His mother said to him, "My son, let the curse fall on me. Just do what I say. Go and get them for me." So he went and got them and brought them to his mother, and she prepared some tasty foods, just the way his father liked it. Then Rebekah took the best clothes of Esau, her older son, which she had in the house, and put them on her younger son, Jacob. She also covered his hand and the smooth part of his neck with the goat skins.
But why?
So
Why?
that if he reaches out and touches his son, he'll be hairy because he's got goat skins on him.
Yes, but there's like more to that. Like you're not just like putting the skin. Like it sounds. Why does he need to be hairy?
In case the father touches him while they're talking, like reaches out and like, my son, my son.
He needs to be. He has a hairy kid. Got it.
Yep. Then she handed to her son Jacob the tasty food and the bread she had made. I love getting bread. He went to his father and said, "My father." Yes, my son. He answered, "Who is it?" Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Please sit up and eat some of my game, so that you may give me your blessing." Isaac asked his son, "How did you find it so quickly, my son?" "The Lord your God gave me success," he replied. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Come near so I can touch you, my son, to know whether you really are my son Esau or not." He's already suspecting some trickery. Jacob went close to his father Isaac, who touched him and said, "The voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Yeshua." He did not. Every time I flip flop, take a shot. Every time I change the pronunciation.
I'm getting fucked up. Here we go.
He did not recognize him, for his hands were hairy like those of his brother Esau. So he proceeded to bless him. "Are you really my son, Esau?" he asked. "I am," he replied. And then he said, "My son, bring me some of your game to eat, so that I may give you my blessing." Jacob brought it to him, and he ate, and he brought some wine, and he drank. This is literally taking every last brain cell that I have at my disposal. I did not expect that being hungover and trying to read the Bible would be so difficult.
I thought it was bad sober.
This is probably why the priests don't drink. I think this is why.
This is why they drink just a little bit of wine. This is just like a little fix to get them through. But
Then his father Isaac said to him, "Come here, my son, and kiss me." Oh,
with tongue?
yes, definitely. He's got one of those tongue piercings, those ones from the early 2000s.
Gross.
So he went to him and kissed him. Right on his looking
This
hole.
sounds way too romantic.
I know, it's getting gay.
It doesn't seem like oh, I'm like kissing my dad. Like it's not like bad to kiss your dad. I mean, I don't want to kiss my dad, but it's not like bad to kiss your dad, but it's getting intimate.
Yeah, I mean, he's feeling up on him. He's kissing him. It's getting weird. He went to him and kissed him. You know, if Esau really was that hairy, what do you feel like the wiping situation would have been like? I mean, like, because it's got to be like getting peanut butter out of a shag rug. There's just so much hair, and you don't have toilet paper back then. What, did he wipe his hairy butthole with a stick? Did he wipe it all?
All I can tell you is that I can guarantee you that he's not the first hairy butthole that didn't wipe properly. Even nowadays, people aren't wiping properly, and they have clean buttholes, and they have access to wiping themselves correctly. I can't imagine back then what a wipe meant. Like just one scoop, and you just hope for the best.
I think back then they must have just like really pulled their butt cheeks apart while they were squatting, and that was what they could do. That was the best that they could do at any given time.
It just seems like okay. Never mind.
Just let it fall, let it free fall like a baby giraffe. So he went to him and kissed him. When Isaac caught the smell of his clothes, he blessed him and said, "Ah, the smell of my son." See, this is getting creepy. He's pulling one of those.
The thing is,
son, you smell different when you're awake.
It wouldn't be creepy had these things not led up. Like, choose a scent. I thought you knew he was your son because you put the hairy goat thing on there. And so you're like, oh, I know you're hairy. You're my son. Now it's that's not enough. I need you to kiss me and that'll be enough. But it's actually not enough. I need you to smell me and kiss me
I need you to
and
lift
feel
your
my
armpit.
hairy butt. And yes, he has a pit fetish for
He's got
sure.
a pit fetish. He's just sniffing on his son. Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field. How romantic. One of those Hallmark family moments
A manure field.
that the Lord has blessed. May God give you heaven's dew and earth's richness, an abundance of grain and new wine. Isn't the aged wine better than the new wine?
That's what they say.
My nations serve you, and peoples bow down to you. He's like really praising his son. Like, my father won't even tell me he loves me. And this man's like, you are the morning dew on the fields of the baby bunnies that prance through the daisies. And it's like, okay, all
Yeah,
right.
but if your dad told you this, what would you say?
I don't know.
You'd
I
be
think
uncomfortable.
just slip a $20 bill in the birthday card, Dad. I don't
You get a birthday card?
be you got a restraining order for your birthday from your father. You got an emancipation, and that's really all you ever wanted.
We just changed the locks.
Be Lord over your brothers, and may the sons of your mother bow down to you. May they suck on your toes and sniff your pits.
What?
No,
Mine does not say that.
I threw that one in just for fun. May, may those who curse you be cursed, and those who bless you be blessed. After Isaac finished blessing him, and Jacob had scarcely left his father's presence, his brother Eshua, I'm gonna sneeze. I'm
God
gonna
bless you.
do it. I'm gonna sneeze.
In the word of Bible Sludy, God bless you. God bless you.
Gesundheit. I'm fine.
I hope you sneeze a lash off.
His brother Eshua came in from hunting. He too prepared some tasty food and brought it to his father. Then he said to him, my father, please sit up and eat some of my game so that you may give me your blessing. Now, he already traded this blessing for that bowl of soup in the last chapter. He already made the deal. Deal or no deal. He made the deal, just like with Howie Mandel, deal or no deal. And he did it. He made the deal.
He gets the phone call. All right, here's what I can offer you: a bowl of soup.
I'll take it.
And the scent of your son's armpit.
What more can you ask for, honestly? At this time, do you fear death?
Do you fear death,
You owe us
Barrel?
You're wild. His father asked him, who are you? I am your son, he answered. Your firstborn, Yeshua. Isaac trembled violently and said, who was it then that hunted game? And he went into a spasm. He went into a complete shock. He's tremoring. He's got an entire whatever it is. I can't think of the word, but he's just completely convulsing at this. He's terrified. You're going to kill your father, his heart. Your firstborn. Isaac trembled violently and said, who was it then that hunted game and brought it to me? I ate it just before you came, and I blessed him. And indeed, he will be blessed. When Eshua heard that his father's words, he burst out with loud and bitter cry and said to his father, bless me too, my father. But he said, your brother came deceitfully and took your blessing. And there's no undoing that, right? That's a little silly to me.
I'm just confused. It's like, what is considered the blessing in this moment? Is it the offering?
The blessing is that they get to inherit everything. They get everything of their fathers. The firstborn is naturally blessed with that.
Yes.
Customarily, but then he is scamming him out of that. So he's gonna get all of like the perks, like the honor and the goats and the tents and I don't know, the concubines, whatever they got to give.
Okay.
Isn't he rightly named Jacob? This is the second time he has taken advantage of me. I love getting taken advantage of.
You
He
did
took
last
my
night.
birthright. Hey!
You did last night.
Oh, yeah.
You got taken advantage of by that alcohol.
Yeah, I did. I got bent over the counter by that whiskey.
Whiskey, bro.
He took my birthright, and now he's taken my blessing. They're different things?
Well, that's what I was trying to say. I thought the
Oh,
birthright is what you mentioned, whereas
I
you're the firstborn, like I'm entitled to this as the firstborn. This is my birthright. The blessing seems like an additional thing that, like, I was granted this, like a godly grantedness.
It seems like one is for, like, property, and the other one is for, like, honor. The other
Oh,
one's like,
okay.
you are, because he says, like, "May all of your brothers bow to you. May everybody lick your toes and tickle your feet. May everybody, dance around you and sing Kumbaya." And so it seems like it's a praising thing. He's praising the eldest son for being
Mhm.
the favorite of all the children. All right. Isaac answered Eshua, "I have made him lord over you, and have made all his relatives his servants, and I have sustained him with grain and new wine. So what can I possibly do for you, my son?" Eshua said to his father, "Do you have only one blessing, my father? Bless me too, my father." Then Esau wept aloud. His father Isaac answered him, "Your dwelling will be away from the earth's richness, away from the dew of heaven above. You will live by the sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you grow restless, you will throw his yoke from off your neck." Esau held a grudge against Jacob because of the blessing his father had given him. He said to himself, "The days of mourning for my father are near. Then I will kill my brother Jacob." Wow, what a
But
little bitch.
w- w- w-
Thanksgiving is going to be so awkward. When
so
Rebecca,
hold on. So he hated Esau. Esau hated Jacob because he took his blessing.
yeah,
Even though Esau was the firstborn.
yeah,
Okay, so Esau has the birthright, but not the blessing.
yeah. Esau had the birthright, but he traded it for the soup. So now he has nothing. He has
Okay.
no blessing or birthright. When Rebecca was told what her older son had said, she sent for her younger son Jacob and said to him, "Your brother Eshua is planning to avenge himself by killing you. Now then, my son, do what I say. Flee at once to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay with him for a while until your brother's fury subsides. When your brother is no longer angry with you and forgets what you did to him, I'll send word for you to come back from there. Why should I lose both of you in one day?" Then Rebekah said to Isaac, "I'm disgusted with living because of these Hittite women. If Jacob takes a wife from among the women of this land, from Hittite women like these, my life will not be worth living." God, straight men are so dramatic.
Okay, so Rebecca steps in.
A whole lot of family drama going on in this chapter.
And then they put chapter 28 kind of in the middle of this.
Mm.
They just kind of break it up. So I'm next. I feel like I'm following it as we have these conversations as to what's happening. Isu's very unhappy. Rebecca's trying to stand in and explain why Jacob sold it his blessing. Anyway, chapter 28. Then Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said to him, "You shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padam Aram, to the house
Padam, padam.
Padam, Padam, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take yourself a wife from there of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother." May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, and that you may be an assembly of peoples, and give you the blessing of Abraham to you and your descendants with you, that you may inherit the land in which you are a stranger, which God gave to Abraham. So Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Padam Aram, to Laban, the son of Bethuel, the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob, and Esau. What did you say?
Yeshua.
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 Sure.
That's the one.
Okay. Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padam Aram to take himself a wife from there, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, "You shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan." And that Jacob had obeyed his father and his mother, and had gone to Padam Aram. Also, Esau saw that the daughters of Canaan did not please his father Isaac. So Esau went to Ishmael, and took Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebaioth, to his wife in addition to the wives he had. Now Jacob went out to Beersheba and went towards Haran. So he came to a certain place and stayed there all night, because the sun had set, and he took one of the stones of that place and put it on his head, and he lay down in that place to sleep. Then he dreamed, and behold, a ladder was set up on the earth, and its top reached the heavens, and there the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. So a ladder appeared in his dream or in real life? Is this part of his dream when he's sleeping?
It seemed like he was sleeping because he laid down on that comfy rock.
Or was he sleeping, but he was honestly passing away? Like, is he sleeping a metaphor for him? Like, oh, I'm laying down, but he was like not well, and he's like passing away, and so this is like a way of like seeing the light at the end of a tunnel, kind of thing. Like he sees this ladder that reaches to the heavens, and there's God and these angels. So he's not actually sleeping; he's dreaming.
It is a dream.
It is
titled Jacob's Dream in my book.
Mine doesn't. I get Jacob's vow at Bethel.
We have clarification in my Bible for teenage girls. That's me. It also matches my outfit today. Look at that.
It does.
Cute.
God were ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie I will give to you and your descendants. Also your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth. You shall spread abroad to the west and the east, to the north and the south.
Just like Jessica's legs, spread abroad from the west to the east.
You give me more credit than I deserve. I can barely touch my toes. I am not flexible to save anybody.
I wasn't insinuating that you were flexible. I was insinuating that you were a slut.
I prefer whore.
Oh, yes.
Or maidservant.
Jessica la slut.
Blasphemy. Thank you. I met a guy named Noah. I told him to spread my legs today. Anyway. And I know. I already know.
Too bad his name wasn't Moses, because then it would have made more sense.
Oh my God, that's why nobody laughed at brunch.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, Noah, are you gonna part my legs like the sea? And then I'm like, oh God, that makes sense. It's Noah.
No, a better reference would
wait, no, not Moses, not Noah.
Of each beast to enter inside me, Noah.
Oh, or you could be like Noah grabs the ankles, right?
Grabs the ankles.
He died upside down, didn't he?
Died upside down?
We'll get to that part. We're still early on.
Noah is the one with the boat in the flood.
I know, but he died a long time ago.
Yeah. I'm so confused.
Yeah, this is how my crowd felt earlier when I tried to make a religious sexual joke.
You could have been like, you're making me so wet, I'm going to flood your whole world.
Yeah, I need 2 of your dicks in my...
Yeah.
You're watching Noah. I'm very sorry that I thought you were Moses. Honest mistake. Anybody could make it.
It happens.
Also, your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth, and you shall spread them abroad from the west to the east, to the north and the south, and in you and in your seed all the families of the earth shall be blessed. So your sperm is now holy. If you procreate, you have blessed. Could you do that at Easter? Would the priest do that? Can I tangent for a second? You know, when you're at Easter and you can bring a basket of like butter and salt and like a necklace, and then the priest goes through each one and like blesses the whole basket, and immediately each of those are holy objects because the priest sprinkled holy water. What if you brought like your semen necklace to that? Would they do that? Could you have holy
I think
semen?
unintentionally they would. I don't think that if you told them that there was semen inside my locket that they would intentionally bless something so blasphemous. But now you've given me something to do next Sunday. I'm going to go find a Catholic church and get my semen blessed.
We have to wait till Easter. We should go together.
Holy semen tastes different than just regular.
Well, when I've had like other blessed things, like blessed butter, blessed salt, I never tasted anything different, but I felt better after I enjoyed it. Like when I would make like cinnamon raisin bread with the holy butter, I felt better about myself. I felt like I was ingesting like something that was of importance. So maybe it's the same feeling. I don't know if it makes it better. See, but like in the kosher section.
Okay. In the Pentecostal church, they don't bless items because they believe that that's like an idol, like you're making an idol. So there's no like holy objects. There's no holy candles. There's no.
That's so interesting.
Like that.
It's very big on like everything needs to be blessed before you can continue like to use it or to wear it or to sprinkle it on people, whatever it is. Like this water is nothing until I do this, say a prayer, and now it's holy water immediately.
Yeah, I think that that's like the biggest difference between your cult that you grew up in and mine is that like the Pentecostal evangelical fundamentalist churches, they feel like they have like a direct line to God, and they have like this personal relationship with their God where you don't have to like go through another person. You don't have to go through your priest. You don't have to go through a saint. You don't have to go through an object to like have that connection. You don't have to pay for so many things. Just 10% of your income will do fine. And
I know that we read comments later, but someone said, "Oh, you're Pentecostal. That's serious."
Yeah. We're speaking in tongues today, honey. What does that mouth do? Oh. Give me your best speaking in tongues, Jessica. Have you ever?
Like if I were to like in Harry Potter, like parcel time.
Oh my God. Do you not know what speaking in tongues is?
Yeah,
just like that. Just like that, but in the middle of your prayer. Like you'll be praying at church and you'll be like, "Dear Lord Jesus, please help this person who's been paralyzed their entire life to suddenly walk today here at church." And just for like extra punctuation.
Maybe if it was cold and I had like the chills and the shivers, and it just gonna happen.
Wait.
Like,
in your situation, it would probably be something much less serious. It would be like, "Dear God, Jesus, please help me get this butt plug back out of me because it got too far up inside me." And then the Bluetooth vibrator would suddenly turn back on and you'd be like,
"Oh yeah, that feeling that comes through your body."
Mm-hmm. The way that they sell us those pink floppy Bluetooth vibrators are like,
oh yeah, in the videos, and
videos where they're freaking out, spasming.
And then you get it, and it barely works with Wi-Fi.
Oh, Do you have it? Do you want to demonstrate it for us here at Bible Sludy?
I have 3, and none of which actually have been found since their use.
Oh my god.
I know.
Yeah. I picture that the remote for that is like one of those little Hot Wheel ones where you have to turn the
Oh my gosh! Like
and it's
in
got a metal
Toy
antenna.
Story.
Yeah, just like the Toy Story remote control for the little electric car. That's how I picture the
It would
remote.
make it way easier if it was just battery operated within like a 20 feet signal.
Yeah. Or like one of these. You clap the
on.
clapper. Oh.
Tangent. Sorry, everybody. Behold, I am with you and will keep you wherever you go and will bring you back to this land. For I will not leave you until I have done what I have spoken to you. Then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. Then Jacob, oh, I already wrote that. And he was afraid and said, How awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. Then Jacob rose early in the morning and took the stone that he had put on his head, set it up as a pillar, and poured oil on top of it. And he called the name of that place Bethel. But the name of that city had been Luz previously. What does that mean?
Shake loose, honey, break loose.
L-U-Z.
Luz.
Luz. Had been
Luz.
Luz previously, like the name of it was Luz, and now it's
Yes.
Bethel.
Works for me.
Get Luz, oh, you get Luz.
Mm-hmm.
Then Jacob made a vow, saying, If God will be with me and keep me in this way that I'm going, and give me bread to eat and clothing to put on, so that I come back to my father's house in peace, then the Lord shall be my God. And this stone, which I have set as a pillar, shall be God's house. And of all that you give me, I will surely give a tenth to you.
I think that's kind of adorable. He built like a little sand castle and he was like, God lives here now. This is for
Oh,
you.
that's very nice. Like a birdhouse.
Yeah, like a little birdhouse, but he was like all superstitious with it.
Yeah.
Like, God can live here. A little altar for the Lord.
So the next chapter I have, it says Jacob meets Rachel.
Mine says Jacob arrives in Padam.
Okay. All right, hungover Betty, you're next.
Here we go. We're diving in. Should we read this little summary that they have here for the chapter?
A summary.
So we can see like what their take is on what just happened.
Do you have what is that in your book?
Let's try it out. Let's see how it goes.
Is that in your book?
Yeah, it's in my book.
Let me see.
This whole page. It's talking about what just happened.
Why do they have a summary? It's like Spark Notes. Why don't we just read those?
I mean, let's give it a go. Let's see how it goes.
So this is the chapter I just read, but the Spark Note version.
Yes.
Okay.
So it says, siblings fight. They might clash with each other. Oh, that's got to be a typo. More than anyone else they ever met. In fact, the feud between Isaac's sons, Jacob and Esau, grew so intense people still tell the story thousands of years later. These twin boys start fighting back in Genesis 25, where they elbow inside their mother's womb. Esau is born first, and Jacob comes out grabbing his brother's heel. They grow up into complete opposites, and their parents do little to help the situation. Old Isaac favors Esau, while Rebekah likes Jacob better. At the end of Genesis 25, Esau comes back famished from hunting. Jacob convinces Esau to swap all the benefits that belong to him as the oldest son for a pot of red stew. The scheming repeats when Jacob deceitfully steals his father's blessings. When Esau's angers grow into a murderous rage, Jacob has to flee for his life. It takes many years for the two grown brothers to call a truce and live in peace. Even though they had their difficulties, they were still family. They had to find a way to get along. If you have siblings at your house, you're setting partners of getting along that will last a lifetime. So start by letting God be the Lord of your family. When you choose to live this way, there's far less to fight about. That was their little notes.
That was a little bit easier to understand, for sure.
Yeah, it's more digestible. I think that's why this is the Bible for teenage girls, so that like it's just something that like you don't have to be a scholar to understand a lot of like the context, I suppose. But also at the same time, I feel like they could definitely whitewash with this type of editing. With like, I don't think that they're going to go into all of the slaves and concubines and the sex trade that they did with the chapters that we read previously. I think they'll probably gloss over a lot of that. So that's...
Is this the first Spark Note thing that you've gotten in your Bible?
Oh no, there's been one for every chapter. I started reading it the first week that we started reading our thing, and you didn't seem to like it, so I never brought it up again.
The first week I didn't like anything, so that doesn't count. Okay, I was a very distraught, unhappy human our first week. I don't think that's very fair to hold that against me, Tiffany.
Should we review some of the other chapters that we read?
You're not going back.
Okay. Then Jacob continued on his journey and came to the land of the eastern peoples. There he saw a well in the open country with 3 flocks of sheep lying near it because the flocks were watered from that well. The stone over the mouth of the well was large. When all the flocks were gathered there, the shepherds would roll the stone away from the well's mouth and water the sheep. Then they would return the stone to its place over the mouth of the well. Jacob asked the shepherds, "My brothers, where are you from?" "We're from Haran," they replied. He said to them, "Do you know Laban, Nahor's grandson?" "Yes, we know him," they answered. What a small world. It's a small, small world. Then Jacob asked them, "Is he well?" "Yes, he is," they said, and here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep. "Look," he said, "the sun is still high. It is not time for the flocks to be gathered. Water the sheep and take them back to the pasture." "We can't," they replied, "until all the flocks are gathered and the stone has been rolled away from the mouth of the well. Then we will water the sheep." While he was still talking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherd. Oh my God, they had lady shepherds. When Jacob saw Rachel's daughter of Uncle Laban and Laban's sheep, he went over and rolled the stone away from the mouth of the well and watered his uncle's sheep. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and began to weep aloud. He had told Rachel that he was a relative of her father and a son of Rebekah. So she ran and told her father. As soon as Laban heard the news about Jacob, his sister's son, he hurried to meet him. He embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his home. And there Jacob told him all the things. Then Laban said to him, "You are my own flesh and blood." After Jacob had stayed with them for a whole month, so just a few days, Laban said to him, "Just because you are a relative of mine, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me what your wages should be."
I love how you say like for a month. They're like, "Oh, just a few days." Concept of quantity has been a problem, and I'm still irritated by the couple of days, and they're like 10 days.
We're using Bible math. You know, girl math. This is Bible math.
Bible
That's how
math.
come everybody's 900 years old and still banging.
Oh my gosh.
Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah, this is actually the biblical Rachel that my sister was named after.
This is also interesting because we're finally getting, well, not finally, but we rarely get female names.
Yeah.
We rarely get, like, we've had Rebecca, Rachel, Eve and Leia now.
Yep.
And that's we're like 24, 25 pages in, at least in my Bible, and we have all of the at least 100 what feels like boys' names.
Yeah. This is true. Leia had weak eyes, but Rachel had a lovely figure and was beautiful, just like me. Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, I will work for you 7 years in return for your younger daughter, Rachel, because women are property.
So 7 years.
7 years of working. Let's say the median income in the US right now is like what, 40K a year?
Oh, total. Yes.
Yeah, 40K a year. So we'd say like times 7. What's 7 times 4? 28.
280,000
$280,000 he paid for this woman.
over the course of the time, though, that you'll never get back.
Yeah.
And we don't know how many hours is the thing. Like, I'm going to work for you for 7 years, but we're also talking in a way of like, what is that, more than 40 hours a week?
Yeah. I'm just trying to get an estimation of like what a woman was going for at that time, you know. I feel like with
It's
inflation,
crazy that this isn't even. Can you even imagine going up to somebody and be like, "Hey, I'm willing to work for you for free, but
that's a tip spot, bitch."
I'll do a tip spot, but can I get your child? Like, I know you just had this baby,
I
but
would work for free for 7 years to not have to have someone's child.
yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to have to take care of that ugly child.
So the offer's on the table.
Children scare me. That's the moral of the story. Laban said, "It's better that I give her to you than to some other man. Stay here with me." So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days to him. Mm-hmm.
But then
Because of his love for her.
How old is Rachel at this point?
I don't know. They didn't specify.
Because if he had 2 daughters, Laban had 2 daughters. Elder was Rachel, and the younger was, or eldest was Leah, younger was Rachel. So these are newborns. So there's 7 by the time that he gets them.
No, they weren't newborns.
Yes,
Rachel was a shepherd.
It just said Laban had 2 daughters. Oh, I guess not in that moment.
They're just saying he has 2 daughters.
In general.
Back then, he had 2 daughters. Yeah, because she was a shepherd. They're not infants right now.
That makes me feel better.
Then Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife. My time is completed, and I want to make love to her." So Laban brought together all the people of the place and gave a feast. But when evening came, he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob. And Jacob made love to her. And Laban gave his servant Zilpah to his daughter as her attendant. When morning came, there was Leah. So Jacob said to Laban, "What is this you have done to me? I served you for Rachel, didn't I? Why have you given me your ugly daughter? Oh, no. Why have you deceived me?"
I was like, mine doesn't say that.
Laban replied, "It's not our custom here to give the younger daughter in marriage before the older one. Finish this daughter's bridal week. Then we will give you the younger one also, because you can have as many wives as you want. Marriage, biblical marriage, the sanctity of marriage is between one man and however many women he can fit under his home."
So I'm going to give my daughter a maid or a servant, but then you can have both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. After you continue working, he's trying to scam him into getting more years.
More work, yeah.
Yeah. "Then we will give you the younger one also in return for another 7 years of work." What a scam. This is one of those pyramid schemes.
Oh yeah, it is. You have to buy a whole bunch of product first.
And Jacob did so. He finished the week with Leah. Dang. A whole week of unbridled passion with the ugly sister. You think that he hate fucked her? I mean, he was pretty pissed off.
I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of hate fucking happened in this time.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's a lot of sex for
For sure.
For mutual pleasure for both parties.
No, yeah, exactly. I was actually just listening to a biblical scholar who was talking about like during this time period, sex was not something that two people did together. It was not about consent. It was about someone who would degrade and debase the other person. It was something that you did to someone else. Like sex in general, like was purely for the dominant partner's benefit. And that is actually, and this is what the scholar was actually talking about, is why it was blasphemous for men to commit homosexual acts, was because you are taking this righteous place of the head of a household, and you're debasing them and you're degrading them and you're putting them in this subservient position by topping them. And so it was really like a blasphemous thing because of how you were like diminishing that position of the manly head of the household. And so it was very fascinating to me. But yeah, unfortunately, he is being given women to have relations sort of thrust upon them. Laban gave his servant Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her attendant. Jacob made love to Rachel also. What? Laban gave his servant Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her attendant. Jacob made love to Rachel also. Oh, did he do the 7 years?
Yeah, at this point, Rachel has him. The 7 years passed, because that's when I thought that she was an infant, and then she was 7 years old, and then you reminded me that she was a shepherd first.
Yeah. Well, it just says, so let me go back real quick, because it says, finish the daughter's bridal week, remember, because he got the wrong sister. Then we will give you the younger one also in return for another 7 years of work. Oh, okay. So he's gonna give Rachel now, but you still have to, like, after this week with the ugly sister, and then we'll like just keep you around to work, and you'll have both sisters. His love. Okay. All right. Now it's making sense. Jacob made love to Rachel also, and his love for Rachel was greater than his love for Leah. And he worked for Laban another 7 years. Okay, now it's all making sense.
So he did this. He worked 14 years total now.
Yeah.
Because he gets 2 of them.
Because he gets 2 for the price of 2.
Yeah.
Not like a Black Friday sale.
Like buy one but get one for 5 years.
What's that?
Not buy one get one 5 years.
Buy one get one 5 years. Jacob's children, when the Lord saw that Leah was not loved, he enabled her to conceive, but Rachel remained childless. The Lord does this shit. This is so weird. It's so weird to me how they just decide that like God is the one who is like keeping people from being able to get pregnant.
I'm getting a little bit confused, but that's exactly it. Like God is just deciding who is barren.
Yeah.
And who is going to be prosperous for their descendants and fruitful with their seed.
Leah became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She named him Reuben, for she said, "It is because
Reuben.
Reuben.
Love Reubens. I'm so hungry.
It is because the Lord has seen my misery. Surely my husband will love me now." Oh, Leah. Oh. Princess. Surely my husband will love me now. I gave him a baby. You think that he will? Should we make a bet?
I don't think he will.
This isn't going to be it.
I think he'll be like, oh, this isn't the kid that I wanted. You're still awful.
You think he's going to hate her more now?
Yeah.
Because he's jealous that his hot wife won't get pregnant and that the ugly one can?
I think so.
Here we go. She conceived again, and when she gave birth to a son, she said, "Because the Lord heard that I am not loved, he gave me this one too." So she named him Simon. Again, she conceived. When she gave birth to a son, she said, "Now at last my husband will become attached to me, because I have borne him 3 sons." So he was named Levi. She conceived again, and when she gave birth to a son, she said, "This time I will praise the Lord." So she named him Judah. Then she stopped having children. Leah. Her name means wary. I bet she is. She popped out 4 kids to a man who never loved her. That'll make anybody weary. It says here in our little notes, it says, when Leah gave birth to her 6th son, Zebulun.
6?
Yeah, I guess it's giving us a little spoiler. She realized that important truth that children are a precious gift from God. Known as one of the mothers of Israel, she, together with Jacob, eventually had 6 sons and daughters. Her life was filled with children and eventually grandchildren as well. Scriptures say that children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from him. Like arrows in the hands of a warrior are children born in one's youth. Jesus himself affirmed how valued children are to God when he declared, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." Even if you are young, or if you don't ever see yourself having children, you can make a difference in the lives of children. You might volunteer in children's ministry and learn how to share the gospel with those who are younger than you and teach them about the Bible. If you have younger relatives, you can guide them and teach them about God. Interact with your younger children in loving ways, just as Leah did. You can see them as precious gifts from God. I wouldn't be praising God if I was Leah in this situation. I wouldn't be like, "Oh God, thank you so much for putting me in this abusive, horrible, terrible relationship, but blessing me with children, with this horrible, terrible man."
Not just children, 6 children.
6 children! 6. This is why divorce has to be allowed. Because if you're in an unhealthy relationship, like, kids you have to be able to leave.
And sometimes those marriages, they think kids will fix it. They're like, oh, like, either it will fix it, or because they have them, they can't remove themselves or whatever, and they just force themselves to stay together. But they're like, oh, well, if we get like a project together, we'll become closer and we'll love it, and then we'll love each other.
That's the worst thing you can do. And so often people really do that. That's such a good point you brought up.
Yeah, often.
My God. I feel for Leah. I feel this is a horrible, horrible situation.
It's kind of like
a dad to set her up like this.
It just seems like brainwashing too, for the reaction to be like, "Oh my God, things are really awful, but thank you for giving me these children."
Yeah. Well, and I think just like you said with the brainwashing, I think that the little spark notes over here where they don't address how she's completely dehumanized and like what she wants and her hopes and dreams are completely invalid. They don't address that here. They just say, "Oh, but look how Leah was so lucky to have so many kids." Like they really just gloss over all of the horrific situation that's mentioned in this chapter just to like praise children.
Yeah. The Bible has such a weird way of like turning around the language that's being used, even in very slim cases where they're talking positive about the woman, to then turn it around to be a controlling kind of punishment negative as you continue to read it.
Yeah. It's no bueno.
We talked about like women only being mentioned if they couldn't bear children or if there was something wrong with them. And it seems like this is a way to acknowledge that, oh, this one could bear children, but also we're still going to degrade her.
Yeah, you were all excited about how we were getting some like female characters, and it turns out that it's just because of, again, sex trade. All right, she was purchased for a price so that she could birth children for this man, and also that Rachel is barren. And so it's just again the same thing.
Yeah.
But I guess we should get into the comments, huh?
Yeah, that was a really interesting chapter. I actually like the ones that we got to read because I feel like there was more conversation. It was open for interpretation in a lot of different ways. But yeah, let's go to comments. Let's see what we got. We have some funny ones that have been popping up. Someone said we both look great. Someone said that we could go to prom together because we match. The Bible is full of drama. You look great hungover.
Thank you. Isn't it a miracle I can feel so terrible and still look so good?
You look so good. On a scale of 1 to 10, how hungover are you?
Just like still drunk, basically. Like I don't like my head's not pounding. The room's still spinning, and it's been like.
Man, I want to get drunk with you like that. We just have to drink a lot. The smell of a goat. Red flags. Gamey goat soup.
Gamey goat soup.
Soup. As a kid, I once tried to read the Old Testament and I was bored, so I played with toys instead. Serious big ups to the auto caption of Hallelujah. Let's see. From now on, this is how I'm handling my problems. Build a little God house in your soul. Kaja has been very interactive with us today. There's never a Kaja in the Bible. I checked. Come on, lady shepherds.
I feel like if the dick is right, you could start speaking in tongues. Like you're getting your head bashed against the headboard in the bed. That's what the men like when they fuck you stupid.
They're like, oh man, I was fucking him so good she couldn't even speak in.
She was speaking to Jesus.
Why does the Bible hate women? My kid's name is Levi and he's from hell. Let's go to TikTok.
Oh my god. You didn't get banned this time?
No, I've tried not to say circumcision. And I think I accidentally smoked on camera once.
Uh-oh.
It was holy weed though. I had it blessed.
Yeah. Took it to a priest.
I took it to a priest. That never made sense to me. Literally, my mom would be like, "Oh, I need to go get this necklace blessed," and she'd go to church, and I'd go with her like middle of the day, and not like at mass. And all the priest would do, even if he wasn't in his robe or garment, he would go, and that was good enough.
Oh my god!
Like,
did you have to Venmo him for that?
What?
Did you have to Venmo him for that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what was considered blessing things when I remember people getting things like the priest literally did this. Maybe he said something in his head or out loud, but he just did this and like kissed his hand, and that was it. And all of a sudden it was
sniffed his fingers. Smells like taint. You know, it's funny because the way that you're talking about having to take things to the priest to get them blessed, it reminds me of like when you're driving home and you're passing by McDonald's and you're like, "Mom, can we stop by McDonald's?" And your mom's like, "No, we got burgers at home. We have food at home, whatever." Because that's the way that it is with like my Christianity that I grew up with is like we didn't have to take items to the church to get blessed. You could just bless it at home. My parents would constantly, if they bought something specific,
like they could do it.
They could do it. They could buy like a new book from Goodwill, and they'd bring it home and they'd pray over it to release all the demons from it because they heard that all the witches and the Satanists are attaching demons to inanimate objects like a teddy bear or a Rubik's Cube. So they would pray over new things that entered the house so that the demons wouldn't infest their family and start turmoil or drama or a spirit of rebellion. So they must have missed one. They must have missed a Rubik's Cube or something because I rebelled.
Wow, that is, I wouldn't even know how to react if I saw one of my parents do something like that. Like to feel like they had the power to make something holy.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Someone said, "Do not blaspheme the word of God." Complete misinterpretation. You're sitting there mocking the word of God that is holy, but someone said respectfully they're doing it. Jacob bought Esau's birthright. Somebody said when Isaac was dying, Jacob, with Rebekah's help, cheated Esau out of their father's blessing. Oh my God, I had that Bible when I grew up. Not mother's brother. Gross. We've got Tammy, I pray for your sins. Kevin, praying for you too.
All right.
Are you Tammy or Kevin?
I prefer my prayers in the form of Venmo, actually. That's just me personally.
Read about, someone said, go to the chapter about the Ephesians and read about sin. We're not there yet. We will get there. Someone said, sitting there eating popcorn like it's entertainment, shaking my head. I was hungry, okay? Wasn't Unsullied Luke 2009 that the Catholic Church said dead unbaptized babies go to heaven? And then before that, they went to purgatory or hell if they're unbaptized?
I think it's different depending on like which denomination you're a part of. They have different opinions on that. My parents always believed that like before the age of 14, you were just guaranteed a ticket into heaven. And they're also incredibly like aggressively pro-life. And so my confusion there was always like they're always talking about like all the babies that are getting murdered with Planned Parenthood and stuff like that. And I was always like, isn't that kind of like the best case scenario then? Like, just according to your belief, like, I would rather just have a guaranteed entry into eternal life and happiness. Like, it's actually a huge inconvenient risk to risk your eternal soul if you actually end up getting, unfortunately, born into this, first of all, world of like pain and suffering, and then potentially damn your soul for all of eternity. Best case scenario, you just get created into heaven directly. Like and why didn't he do that with everybody? Like what's the whole there's just a lot of holes in this logic.
There's a lot of holes in this logic. I'm like trying to well, those are our comments for today. Oh my goodness, what another great Bible Sludy. This is our last one in November. We've officially done this for 2 months, and we are renewed for season 3, still on chapter 1. We'll be on chapter 1 for probably the entire 2024. And we are here now Saturdays at 4:30.
Work.
So, and maybe we'll get to do one together.
Oh yeah, in December. That'd be so fun.
Okay. Bye everybody.
Bye-bye.
Follow us on Instagram, Venmo us if you enjoyed us. Thanks.
God bless. Thoughts and prayers.
Cocks and prayers.
Cocks and prayers.
Didn't you say cocks and prayers?
I said thoughts and prayers.
Cocks and prayers.
You a nasty lady.